In the 19th century, the American medical market was largely unregulated. People relied heavily on self-help and traveling peddlers selling cure-all nostrums, elixirs that boldly claimed to cure everything from stomach aches to cancer. Despite the grandiose promises printed on the labels, the primary active ingredient and the chemical solvent holding these concoctions together was usually alcohol. In 1870s Iowa, this reliance on alcohol created a unique problem. The state passed strict retail liquor laws, leaving licensed pharmacies as one of the only legal places for the public to buy alcohol for medicinal purposes. Unprincipled saloon owners quickly figured out they could slap a pharmacy sign on their doors and run a dram shop, a front for illegal booze sales. This infuriated the state's growing temperance movement. Legitimate pharmacists suddenly found their profession associated with illegal vice. To protect the reputation of their trade and separate the true druggists from the illicit bartenders, they decided they needed formal state regulation. On New Year's Day, 1880, an ambitious young pharmacist named George H. Schafer sent a circular to every known drug firm in Iowa, asking them to unite. His goal was to rally support for the proposed Iowa Pharmacy Bill. Schafer wanted to legally define the occupational standards of their work and establish a state commission to enforce them. To get the bill passed, Schafer formed an unlikely political alliance. Temperance backers threw their support behind the pharmacists, fully expecting the new regulations to permanently crush the dram shops. The strategy worked. The General Assembly passed the legislation, making pharmacy the very first legally recognized profession in the state of Iowa. Both groups supported the exact same text, but for entirely contradictory reasons. The temperance advocates wanted to restrict access to alcohol, while the pharmacists wanted to protect their professional right to dispense it. The contradiction exploded shortly after the law passed. Iowa Attorney General Smith McPherson issued a ruling stating that because the new statute gave licensed pharmacists jurisdiction over medicines, they were officially exempt from the state's strict reporting and bonding requirements for liquor permits. Pharmacy leaders celebrated. They viewed this ruling as a hard-won validation of their professional judgment, trusting their members to handle alcohol as carefully as any other dangerous medicinal compound. The temperance movement was outraged. They realized they had been duped into creating a massive loophole that actually loosened liquor laws for the state's druggists. The alliance instantly collapsed in a flood of recrimination, transforming a brief marriage of convenience into a fierce, decade-long war of legislative retaliation. The Retaliation started in 1882. Temperance supporters successfully lobbied the legislature to plug the loophole, forcing pharmacists to obtain retail permits and post substantial financial bonds just to keep operating. In 1884, the state escalated further, passing a stringent law that dragged pharmacists completely under general liquor statutes. It even incentivized civilian informants by offering them half of all liquor-related court fines. In pure desperation, many pharmacists responded with a permit strike, refusing to apply for retail liquor licenses at all and raising the prospect of total prohibition in some communities. The strike failed. The 1886 Assembly tightened application procedures and extended strict liquor laws to cover common patent remedies. The final blow in 1888 mandated buyers fill out numbered request forms, taking permit authority from local supervisors, effectively deputizing pharmacists as reluctant liquor police. This relentless barrage of legislation exhausted the professional community. The continuous political struggle alienated members and sparked deep internal divisions across the state. This chart illustrates the toll it took. Membership in the Iowa State Pharmaceutical Association crashed. From a high of nearly 700 participants, the roster plummeted to just 278 by 1894, effectively destroying their organized political bloc. By that point, temperance sentiment had crested. The state eventually passed the 1894 Molkt Law, which quietly shifted the government strategy towards taxing illegal dealers rather than trying to eliminate them entirely. Iowa pharmacists had spent over a decade bogged down in a hyper-local fight over liquor permits. They had drained the vital political energy and organizational unity they actually needed to advance their trade. While Iowa was fighting over local permits, the rest of the country was moving on. As the 20th century dawned, a new federal regulatory mindset took hold in Washington. A massive revolution was occurring in American medicine. Investigative journalists began exposing the false claims and toxic ingredients of the patent medicines that the public had relied on for decades. This journalism spurred a sweeping federal crackdown. Under President Theodore Roosevelt, the government passed the 1906 Pure Food and Drugs Act, prohibiting the interstate commerce of misbranded and adulterated medicines. Simultaneously, organized, scientifically trained physicians ascended to dominance in the healthcare market. They firmly took command of prescribing the dangerous poisons and medicines that were once entrusted directly to local pharmacists. This left the pharmacists of Iowa in a compromised position. While medicine evolved into a modern, regulated science nationwide, they entered the 20th century ill-equipped to compete. They had spent their crucial formative years distracted by a bitter turf war over temperance. In the quest to legitimize a profession, political alliances of convenience can trap you in the wrong war and cost you your place in the future.